Hi guys, I'm Vibhor Sharma and today we are going to talk about API-led connectivity. That's right, you've heard it correct. It's ALC. So the topics we are going to cover today is what is an API-led connectivity and why everyone is talking about that. And then we'll cover some of the benefits of API-led connectivity. And then we're going to briefly see why use MuleSoft to implement your API-led connectivity architecture. So let's get started. So first things first, what is an API-led connectivity? Well, API-led connectivity is an integration approach, which is a modern integration approach, which breaks down your legacy monolithic integration approach into three consumable layers. So the first layer being system APIs. So let's start with the whiteboarding here. So system APIs. What does a system API do? So as the name suggests, system API lets you connect to your system of records, be it a modern SaaS application, be it a custom database that you have created, be it your on-premise applications, or be it a particular application which even doesn't expose any interface, right? So in the system layer, you create meaningful APIs here, which connects to your backend system and unlocks the data as system of records, right? So I would build some system APIs here. So for example, you have a system API for your custom database, right? And then a system API for your Salesforce application, a system API for your SAP application, be it S4HANA or SAP on-premise, and a system API for your legacy application. Now, in the first section of this video, we're gonna just talk about the API-led connectivity approach. And then in the second section, we'll see by using MuleSoft how easy it is to implement this architecture and what are the benefits. So let's understand the concepts first. So system layer provides that level of abstraction between your system of records, be it any different type of system of record, be it any SOAP, REST, file-based interface, or whatever different type of interface these systems expose. So system layer will essentially create an abstraction between your system of records and the meaningful processes that you're going to create on top of it. And as I mentioned it, the next layer of above the system APIs is the process APIs. So process APIs is nothing but it consumes the data which is unlocked from your backend systems through system APIs and create meaningful processes or orchestrations on top of it. So let's understand this with an simple use case of customer data. Say some of your customer data in your organization might be in a custom database, a legacy database system, right? And that particular data is unlocked by one of your system APIs here. And then a part of your business, another LOB might store your customer data in a Salesforce system, right? So now you have two different system of records just for the customer data. So what process API does here is it creates a meaningful API here, say customer API, and that's a process API. And what it will do is it will connect to those backend system APIs, which is holding part of customer data, and it exposes the customer data as a standard interface, like a particular process which can easily be consumed by your front end applications or even your partners. So by that, we understand what a process API is and what functionalities does it bring in this particular architecture. Now, let's talk about experience APIs. So experience APIs are nothing but like a replicator of the experience you want to provide to different channels. So for example, to consume customer data, you might have mobile application for your organization. You might have different partners in your ecosystem which might consume the customer data to create the third party applications. You might have your point of service applications in your web store which might need customer information, but the data requirements or the format requirements or even the data field requirements for these different channels might be different. So to address that particular problem, you have experience APIs, which provides that same level of experience which is demanded by your experiences. So for example, you can have a mobile experience API, and then you can have a partner experience API here. And then for your point of sales, you can have a point of sales experience API here, right? So these experience APIs consume the data from your backend process APIs for consumer. It will translate that into a format which is understood by either your mobile applications, your partners, or even your POS systems. And then it also provides that level of different security or different uh, rate of service protocols which is like required by these third party partners, right? So this is on a high level API led connectivity architecture. Now let's talk about the benefits what an API led connectivity architecture brings to your organization. So essentially what we did here was we broke down a monolithic API here or monolithic integration here, which takes data from a lot of backend systems and provide different experiences to different channels here. So this would have been a traditional architecture if you have not used API-led connectivity. Now let's see the point of failures here, right? So if it's a single application, and for example, you have to make changes here. So for example, one of your systems is uh, going to be decommissioned, and a new system has to come here, right? So again, there will be a downtime on this monolithic application. And then another challenge might be if you have to onboard a different experience here, a different channel for your customer data consumption. Again, there will be some more downtime here to the application because you have to, it's very difficult to manage change on that particular single application, monolithic application that you have created, right? So it's the maintenance issues on this particular application, right? It's the hard to change thing that you have if you have like this monolithic application. And again, this monolithic application doesn't very well align with the traditional integration practices of data abstraction, etc., right? So let's see how API led connectivity benefits here, right, and solve some of the challenges that which we have seen for this traditional application. So let's assume that your organization is fed up of this particular custom database here, and they want to move away from this custom database into a new, uh, say, cloud application. Let's say it's Microsoft Dynamics 365. So if you implement if you have to implement this change in integrations using API-led connectivity, the change will be smooth. So you don't your partners or the consumers of APIs wouldn't even know if there is a change in the backend system. So what you have to do is you just have to create a new system API here for Dynamics 365 and then hook it to your customer API which you have already created, and then slowly decommission your custom DB API here. So there is just change in one particular layer of APIs, that's just the system layer, and the process layer and experience layer won't even know if there's a change. So the change at the consumer front is minimized with this particular approach, and you don't have to worry about the backend system of records here. So that's one benefit of using API-led connectivity architecture. And then the second benefit is about the different experiences, right? So for example, uh, you have like a desktop application getting created in your organization, right? And again, which would need to consume the customer data. So you don't have to go back onto this backend systems and get the customer data from there. It's so easy. It's just they just have to create an experience API here, and that experience API would cater to all the security and the field level data visibility requirements, and it can easily be connected again to the process API, right? So the cost of the change is minimal there as compared to the traditional integration approaches. Right. So this was about some of the benefits. Now, another benefit, which is again on the reuse side of things, is that, for example, you have to create another process, right, in your organization. For example, let's say you want to display order information, you want to create a unified order API for your customers, right? So in order to get that order data, they have to connect to the system APIs from Salesforce, from SAP, or maybe some of the order management legacy systems. But to get the customer data, you don't have to again go back to the uh, system APIs or even the system of records for the customer information. You can directly get the data from customer APIs. So even the process APIs can share and exchange data between each other, right? So these are some of the great benefits of API-led connectivity approach. But why, you might have a question that why use MuleSoft for the API-led connectivity approach, right? And you might also think that essentially having so many moving parts rather than just one monolithic application might have more failure points in your architecture. Let's try to address those things. First, starting with why MuleSoft for your API-led connectivity architecture. So MuleSoft, as you know, is a unified platform that lets you build your APIs and integrations with ease. It lets you connect your applications, data, and devices through a unified interface and lets you consume the data with ease. So MuleSoft has set of standard connectors. There are like 300 plus connectors on the MuleSoft platform that lets you connect to these backend systems with ease and expose its data. So you don't actually have to worry about the protocols on which you have to connect to these backend systems or even the data formats, etc. So by just configuring that particular connector with the endpoint details, you would be able to easily create this system APIs. So it will save your time to unlock the data there, right? And the second advantage of using MuleSoft is powerful data transformation technology called the data weave. So with data weave, you can convert the data from any format to any format. So be it a XML document, be it data from a file based system, be it a modern RESTful API, or whatever, a data weave can transform and enrich the data from these different data sources into a format which is required by your experiences. So be, for example, your mobile application wants a data into modern JSON format with a limited set of fields. So you can use the data weave script in your customer APIs so that it transforms the customer data into the format which is required by your mobile application. And similarly, if the format required by your partners is in like a EDI format, right? So with the data weave transformation, you can easily convert the customer data into an EDI format and send it to your partners for use, right? And MuleSoft API-led connectivity architecture, or the benefit, is not just about uh, using these APIs or consuming the API data into like the traditional API formats like the JSON or SOAP, right? It can also accommodate various different data formats. So, for example, let's assume a case that there's no connectivity mechanism available for your legacy systems here, right? So then it would be very difficult in any programmatic way to get the data in and out of this legacy system. But worry not. With MuleSoft's RPA offering, the RPA bots can actually go into these backend systems, get the data in and out for you, and expose that particular data as an API. So that API can easily be consumed by, or this particular process wrapped around as an API can easily be consumed by any of your system of records with ease. So that now process automation is also possible with MuleSoft, right? So these are some of the benefits of using MuleSoft for API-led connectivity. So summing it up, essentially, it's the connectors by which it's easy to connect to the backend systems and expose these data or the system of records with ease. And then even if traditional integration approaches are not possible, you can use MuleSoft RPA. So another way of integrating into your backend legacy systems to expose your data. Then second one is the data weave, which is a powerful transformation language, which a lot of other platforms don't actually provide. So it's easy to transform the data from any format to any format which is required by different end systems, right? And third one being it's drag and drop based user interface. So developers don't actually have to write any code to basically implement all these APIs in the system process and experience layer. All these can be done by simple drag and drop based interface, right? Another benefit of using MuleSoft is the Anypoint platform, right? So Anypoint platform is one unified platform to design, build, deploy, and manage your integrations and APIs all under a single place. So you don't have to procure different softwares to do different things with your APIs in your API journey, right? So you don't have to get a tool to design your APIs, don't have to install or set up your servers to deploy your APIs, and again get a third party tool to actually have analytics or monitoring on your APIs. All these things are already provided in the Anypoint platform. So these are some of the benefits of using MuleSoft for API-led connectivity. And again, coming back to the original question we had, right, which some of you might have in your mind, that why complicate things with so many layers of API? Well, if you look at this closely, it's not actually complicating things. It's actually decoupling things, which is according to the best integration or architecture practices. So here you decouple your monolithical application into easily manageable chunks, right? So you have system layer of APIs, which can easily be governed and managed by your central IT team. So IT would have all the necessary control over their backend systems and the APIs which is exposed on top of this backend systems, right? So IT is happy there. Now, your lines of businesses might have uh, a requirement to create different meaningful processes on the data which is unlocked by the IT. So your LOB developers can create meaningful processes like an order orchestration process or a beautiful shiny customer API there. And then your project teams can easily go to a marketplace called the MuleSoft Exchange, which is provided as part of the MuleSoft platform, and it can they can easily create their experiences or experience APIs on top of the data which is unlocked by the lines of business. So this particular architecture increases the manageability of your APIs, right? So we should think in the way of manageability and reuse. So a lot of these APIs can be put on the marketplace, and for the upcoming projects, these APIs can be reused. And as a result, project after project, you become faster. So maybe in the project when you might have to create five different APIs, right? And then you publish those APIs onto the Exchange portal. Now, in the second project, you might be able to reuse maybe one or two APIs from the first project. So again, it reduced your development effort and development cost project after project. Maybe in the third project, you would be able to reuse like three APIs from the previous projects. So again, your development time has reduced by like 25% here. So that's like a significant reduction in your development time and the cost which is required for developing these APIs. So essentially, it has both cost benefits, it has both reusability and manageability benefits in terms of API-led connectivity approach. So I think that's it about API-led connectivity today and why you should use MuleSoft for API-led connectivity. And of course, feel free to post any questions in the comment section, right? And see you. Bye.